Bienvenidos amigos, hoy les traigo un video maravilloso.
Patagonia is a wild land at the end of the earth, pounded by ferocious storms and surrounded by violent seas. Huge glaciers rip through a landscape carved by ice. Survival here means being tough enough to cope with brutal winters and canny enough to exploit short seasons of opportunity. On land, wildlife struggles in one of the world's most extreme environments, but oceans explode with life. This is South America's most rugged wilderness. The Andes trap moisture, locking most of Patagonia's fresh water supply into its glaciers. East of the range, the glacial lakes give way to the desert of Patagonia's steppe. Guanacos here have had a less severe winter than those in the highlands, but they face challenges of their own. With no rainfall and few rivers, guanacos must get all the moisture they need from eating the few tough plants that manage to grow in the arid conditions. Guanacos are the only large native herbivores able to survive here. But they do have competition. Introduced 150 years ago, sheep thrive in Patagonia. But only with man's help. By shepherding their flocks long distances between pastures and far-flung water points, gauchos can raise thousands of sheep for wool and meat. It's arduous work. These gauchos rely on their horses to reach their flocks. It's lambing time, the most dangerous time for sheep. A glut of young lambs often draws predators down from the mountains. They're much easier to hunt than wild guanacos. The gauchos cannot afford to lose their livelihoods to the jaws of a mountain lion. Pumas are pests here, and the gauchos need to be vigilant. Breeding working animals strong enough to cope with this ranching lifestyle is tough and dangerous. These young horses were born on the farm, but have never been handled. They've lived almost wild for the last 3 years, roaming the plains as a herd. But now it's time for them to be caught and tamed. Don Zoiler has been working with horses since he was a boy. In his younger days, he'd have broken in a horse using brute force. But today, he and his stepson Gerardo practice a more compassionate method. They believe the secret behind taming a horse is to speak its language and earn its trust. But it's not easy. Little by little, they introduce a young colt to a bit and a saddle. horse that's known nothing but the freedom of the fields. It's a shock to the system.
¡Ay! ¡Cálmate, cálmate! No se va a dar la pata. No, no sea tan bruta a romper la cuerda. No. Oh. Ay, otra vez se va, se va. Oh. Oh. Tirando.
This horse is so feisty, he's been named Chispa, meaning spark. It will take a good deal more persuasion to convince Chispa to toe the line. The steppe makes up 90% of Patagonia. The steep drop from the mountains to the plains generates an almost constant wind. Air currents race down the Andean slopes. Gale-force winds make it impossible for anything larger than a shrub to take hold. Gusts can be 100 miles an hour. Many Patagonian insects have lost the ability to fly. Their hard wing cases have become fused. In evolutionary terms, it's a step backwards. Flight is usually considered progress. But take off here, and they'd be blown out to sea. But there's more than just the wind to worry about. A Patagonian skunk forages for a meal. It's not a fussy eater. Skunks will eat anything they can lay their paws on, from rodents and lizards to insects and even carrion. A grasshopper disguises itself as a pebble in the hope of going unnoticed. A beetle can run, and it can try to hide. But the skunk's claws are built to dig, and the soft, sandy soil offers little protection. Within a few short weeks, the freezing winter is a distant memory. Every animal on the Patagonian steppe is in a hurry to make the most of spring. A male armadillo is on a mission to find a mate. His thick skin shields him from the thorny undergrowth. There's a female nearby, but she's more interested in finding food. The bony plate on her head helps her bulldoze through earth as she digs for prey. The male is hot on her heels. His eyesight is poor, but he sniffs her out. But mating isn't easy when you wear a suit of armor. Spring is turning into summer. So far south, average summer temperatures are no more than 15 degrees, but daylight lasts for 18 hours. Patagonia's shores draw in animals from far and wide. 800 kilometers east of the Andes, and beyond Patagonia's vast plains, lies Peninsula Valdez. It juts out into the Atlantic Ocean to form two sheltered bays, providing a welcome resting place for ocean wanderers. These Magellanic penguins have been at sea for 6 months. But they must come to the shore to breed. Penguins mate for life, and couples return to the same nest year after year. There are hundreds of thousands of penguin nests in several colonies along this coast. In these large rookeries, some penguins have to walk up to 2 kilometers inland to reach their burrow. Tough going for an animal adapted to life in the ocean. Penguin bodies are built for the sea. Tightly packed feathers are coated in water-resistant oil, secreted by a gland above the tail. And with flipper-like wings, they fly through the water. Life on land is much harder work. Even in Patagonia's cool spring days, a penguin can overheat. They can't sweat, but bare patches around the eyes dissipate heat, and they even pant to keep cool. Colonies disperse when they're at sea, and these penguin pairs haven't seen each other for 6 months. They're desperate to find their partners. But finding your mate among the multitude can be tricky. Bill fencing is a way of greeting old acquaintances. But not all penguins are pleased to see each other. Squabbles over nest sites are common. Loud brays carry right across the colony, and each penguin recognizes the distinctive call of its partner. These long-distance relationships seem to work. Couples reunite and settle down for a summer of cohabitation. Further down the coast, more marine animals are arriving. This time each year, more than 20,000 southern elephant seals descend on the beaches of Peninsula Valdez. It's the only elephant seal colony on the South American mainland. The first to arrive are the huge 5-meter bulls, who come early to claim the best beachfront spots. When the females arrive, in time to give birth after an 11-month pregnancy, they settle in harems around each male. Elephant seals spend most of their lives at sea, but must come ashore to breed. Seal milk is so nutritious, pups grow incredibly fast. And they need to. Pups suckle for just 3 weeks before the females leave them to fend for themselves. In this short time, they triple their weight, while mothers lose nearly half of theirs. This tiny whelp will weigh over 130 kilos by the time he's weaned. Just offshore, Patagonia's beaches are some of the largest animals in the ocean. whales can grow up to 18 meters long and weigh as much as 80 tons. About 1,500 of these ocean giants spend the summer around Peninsula Valdez. Many have come to give birth. Away from the fierce seas, these protected bays and their relatively warm waters are the ideal nursery for young whales. Newborns weigh over 1,000 kilograms. Calves drink 200 liters of milk and put on 90 kilos every day. And they'll suckle for a year before they're weaned. Even these titans would be at risk in the open ocean. Great white sharks patrol offshore, where they would easily make a meal of a baby whale. So whale mothers know to hug the coastline to keep their young out of danger. But closer to land, there's another threat. Kelp gulls have learned that the lolling whales are the source of a good meal. Whale skin is surprisingly soft, and the gulls' beaks are rapier sharp. Dwarfed by the huge whales, the gulls pick at their blubber. Despite the size difference, the whales are clearly uncomfortable. As well as causing painful lesions, harassment from the gulls means whales dive more frequently, which can make life very hard for their calves. Youngsters can't hold their breath for as long as adults and need to lean on their mothers while they rest at the surface. In just a few weeks' time, the calves will need to be strong enough to leave these bays and migrate south with their mothers to their feeding grounds in Antarctica. 150 kilometers north of Peninsula Valdez is a more surprising breeding colony. Parrots are usually thought of as a tropical jungle bird, but these Patagonian conures have moved to the seaside. This pair are renovating their cliffside burrow in preparation for laying this year's eggs. Most parrots use their beaks as nutcrackers, but these put them to work as pickaxes. Their nest holes can reach up to 4 meters into the cliff. Like penguins, these parrots mate for life. Nuzzling is more than a public display of affection. It helps keep each other clean and free from parasites. This pair are part of an extended family group that all live close by on this patch of cliff. Burrowing in the soft sandstone is a neat solution to life on the treeless, windy plains. It's the perfect place to nest. So perfect, in fact, that this couple are one of 35,000 breeding pairs that have taken up residence in a stretch of cliff 12 kilometers long. It's the largest colony of parrots anywhere in the world. Parrots see a broader color spectrum, including ultraviolet, so it's easy for them to tell each other apart. Males have brighter greens and deeper reds, while females have brighter blues and a longer red stripe on their undersides. And like all parrots, they're talkative. Just like humans, they gossip, telling each other what's going on in the rest of the flock. Living on top of each other can cause tempers to fray. Not all neighbors get on. But a sunset flight is all it takes to cool off. Further south, in the elephant seal colonies, passions are also running high. Dominant males control a stretch of shore and have their pick of the females on their perch. Younger males, or those that arrive too late to stake a claim, are always on the lookout for opportunities to mate on the sly. One such Casanova checks to see if the coast is clear. The interloper spots his chance and makes his move. But it's hard to be subtle when you weigh 3 tons. And the females are far from cooperative. But he's nothing if not persistent. The commotion hasn't gone unnoticed. The alpha male finally realizes there's a trespasser in his territory. But the intruder has no intention of giving in now. He squares up to his rival. The 2 males tower 4 meters above the beach. They're evenly matched. Neither is willing to back down. Fights can last as long as half an hour. And the results can be horrifying. Bloodied and battered, the challenger finally retreats. The elephant seal clashes are violent, but the giants offshore have a more peaceful approach to courtship. While most of the female right whales have come here to give birth, others have come to mate. They only do this once every 3 or 4 years. So when they do, they attract quite a crowd. As many as 20 males engage in an elegant courtship dance with each female. Surprisingly, there's no animosity between the suitors. In fact, they even seem to cooperate in persuading the female to mate. The secret behind this collaboration lies in the size of their testicles. Right whales have the largest testes of any animal on Earth. A pair quite literally weigh a ton. And among these giants, size does matter. The bigger the testes, the more sperm they produce, and the more likely a male is to father a calf. Spring, summer, and autumn are all packed into just a few months. The Patagonian year has come full circle. Wildlife all over Patagonia has seized this short season of opportunity to gather and breed. Soon, winter will take hold here once more. Patagonia is one of South America's last great wildernesses. A windswept plain in the shadow of frozen mountains. A landscape carved by ice that has long loomed large in our imaginations. Monstrous humans may be fantasy, but nature's giants thrive here. Patagonia's coastline is the breeding ground for wildlife as diverse as whales and penguins. Its buffeted plains are home to creatures adapted to the harshest environments in South America. As each year passes, animals and people continue to cling to survival here, at the ends of the earth.
Si te gustó, dale like y suscríbete. Gracias.